So this is a level ride hydro that Samsquanch actually picked up the other day. It's a second-hand piece, but it's still in working order. I mean, it's got the larger master cylinder, so it's got the 3/4 inch master. I like that setup a lot better than the smaller master. It's a shorter pull. It is a little stiffer, but it's a shorter pull to lock up the rear, and that's big for me. The only issue with this thing is it's a vertical handbrake, and I'm not about that life. It really is a personal preference thing, whether or not you have your handbrake vertical or pull-up style is like really up to you. But I have never found a place in a car to put a handbrake where it wouldn't like totally mess with all your stuff. Like it'd just be kind of in the way everywhere, and then I'd have this big old yoink stick. First things first, we gotta get the car in the garage. Alright, car's in the garage. Now we gotta get it up on jack stands, and we're gonna get the e-brake disconnected, and we're gonna pull the whole thing out of the car so that I can start working to get the actual hydro mounted.
It's your boy, and I'm back. What's going on?
We have the handbrake, and we have it mounted, give or take, where we want it mounted. This big brick thing controls the power seat belts, so we have to keep it. So we need to keep the e-brake out of the way. And what I did in the Skyline was I actually made a mount that mounted to the stock handbrake mounts, and then you put the handbrake on top of that, and it worked out really well. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a little bit more complicated because the center console is a little smaller. This handbrake's a little bigger. There's this big old box in the way. So finagling this thing into this spot is going to be a little bit more of a challenge than I originally thought. We'll figure it out though. I made this bracket. It's got 2 bolts on the bottom that are just welded to the bottom, and this makes these nice 2 studs. Now these guys are great because now the handbrake just plops right on there. Bam! She'll fit on just like that, and yeah, I don't even have bolts on the top, and it just kind of sits there. But I'm gonna test fit this guy, and then we'll weld it into the car itself. And after that, we should be able to paint and mount the hydro for real, and then we'll cut this handle in half and make it a pull-up style instead of a pull-back style. That way we'll have a nice clean e-brake. That's good. It's been kind of another hot minute, and the bracket is in the car. So this bad boy is solid as can be. All that's left to do is throw some primer, throw some paint on it, get her cleaned up, get the e-brake on there, and then we're going to make our handle. Alright, I just smacked some etching primer on there, and now I'm going to go ahead and put a little black over the top of that. And the battery's dying, but I will check in after that's dry. Handbrake is in the car. Pardon the really ugly black paint, but you'll never be able to see this bit of it. I've got it bolted down. As you can see, those 2 studs coming through, and it is as solid as a hydro mount can get. Man, this is no joke. The master cylinder is hidden away very nicely in here. You can see it there. You can see it come through, and then our handle will hook up right in here, and then it's going to come up, and I'm going to make a 90 out of the old piece. So you get the yeet motion. Coose is here, and we're going to cut the handbrake handle like I said we would. Yes. wear your goggles while you're cutting in the cutting corner. I feel it in my head.
There you have it, handbrake 101, kids.
Ow, hot pieces of aluminum are hot sometimes.
Is spicy potato.
Oh, yeah. Get in there, Skeeter. Alright. That's a little too long.
Nah.
Yeah.
Should make it 69 millimeters long.
Alright.
It's a handbrake, not a foot brake. Why does it need to be a foot long?
Alright, we got 69 millimeter bad boy right here. You know, Coose, I don't disagree with this decision. $69. Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh, got him.
No way.
That's gonna be wonderful, Coose. Right at 69, man. Would you look at that? I'm just blasting this thing, dude. This is not having it. I wouldn't like that. Alright, so, Coose and I just got done grinding this dude down and kind of giving it a little bit of a shape. And I'm pretty stoked with it. I was really scared to weld this because I really suck at welding aluminum. I'm terrible at it. I need to practice more. But it turned out. It's alright. It's going to be fine. We'll have to paint it, but it looks really sick in the car. Just bam. Nice little black handbrake. Just give her a yeet and it should lock up super good. I'm very happy with this. I got the hydro in the car and painted, and it looks freaking sick. I am so stoked. It's beautiful. I put the soft line in and I routed it roughly through the car and to where it would be going into the engine bay. She pops out right here, and then it would be going from here down to this little tiny brake block guy. I just wanted to make sure that these soft lines would fit, and to my surprise it looks like they might actually work out, which I'm ecstatic about, but we'll have to see. All of the lines have been ran through the cabin and down in here. As you can see, they're relatively tucked out of the way. You don't really notice it all that much. Bam! And she's all hooked up. Nice and clean, tucked away as it should be. We're gonna try to get a little bit more of the space suit on these soft lines because they have a little bit of rubber on them. But it looks killer, and all that's left now is to bleed the system, and we should have a really reliable handbrake. So with the lines ran, I hit a problem. So with all the lines in and the center console in, the center console fits, but it needs to be tilted up a little bit more. And so the bracket that holds the back side of the center console in is super old and rusty. And it goes right here. Now there's also this little hole from where the e-brake cable used to go. So I needed to figure out how to cover both of those bases. And I could have used this and like made something out of it, but instead I just made a whole new piece. Now it's still drying from paint, but this guy will cover that big hole, and it will also hold the back of center console up about an inch higher than the old bracket did. So this will give us the clearance that I need to let the lines stay completely hidden under the center console, and keep it nice and solid and all together as it should be. So I'm gonna let that paint dry, and then we'll pop it in there, try to get the center console in, and then we'll get this bad boy in the air, bleed the brakes, and we should have a fully functional, very clean, nicely hidden handbrake.
Alright everyone, I'm back from gravitating, and now we're doing brake stuff.
Yeah, we got the car in the air, all the wheels are off, and everything's good to go. One thing I didn't show you guys yesterday was the center console is all the way in now. It's nice and solid, and you can open it and close it easily, which is super cool, and I'm excited about it. And we're gonna bleed the brakes now.
Who's hot?
Brake then hydro.
Oh, I think it's hydro then brake, isn't it?
Brake then hydro.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's doing the pumping?
Me.
Alrighty, you ready?
I'm ready. Man, so hold up. I'm
Yeah.
pulling an e-brake up and I'm pushing a brake down.
Well,
So when you say up, I don't understand.
Okay. So fucking gross. Ungo. Now it's still huge wads of air bubble.
I need to tell you guys a little bit of a story. We took the car out to try the handbrake and see if it would lock up the rear wheels, and the nice handle we made yeeted itself. So, or I guess I yeeted it. Yeah, so that handbrake broke, and I was pretty bummed about it because, I mean, like the whole car was put together, like it was done, and I was just really hoping that it would work like a handbrake should work, and then it broke because my welds weren't good enough. And yeah, that was a big bummer. That was a huge bummer. Just yesterday, Samsquanch walked up to me and was like, "Hey, have you thought about using your stock handbrake handle as the lever for the handbrake?" And my mind just kind of blew. I mean, I had thought of this before, but that's crazy. Samsquanch took it upon himself to remove the handbrake from its original mount, and then he drilled holes in it to match the old bottom piece of the handbrake, and he got it to fit in the mount for the hydraulic brake. And it just so happens to be placed in a spot where the handbrake can be used. So if you guys want to do this at home, here's how you do it. We really didn't mean to do this exactly, but hell yeah. I have to take out this handbrake, and I'll show you guys how it's getting rigged to work this way. And yeah, we'll get it finished up. Hopefully we can make it actually do a skid. Alright guys, so I'm about to get to welding this guy, and so what Samsquanch did was he made two holes that matched the old handbrake and copied them onto the stock handbrake. Now this guy isn't quite long enough for both the holes, so using a nice thick chunk of steel, or two of them actually, Samsquanch made a plate with the matching sets of holes, slid them in there, and this is a 1/2 inch inner diameter piece of tubing that fits through the whole thing. So I'm going to weld the back, I'm going to weld this whole thing in, and then I've also got this other one for the bottom pivot, which will go in here, and I've got little marks on there to show where it needs to sit on the handbrake to make it work the right way. I'm gonna get to welding this guy up, and then we'll test it in the car and see how everything is. See how stout this bad boy is. Hopefully it'll be nice and strong, and we won't break another handbrake, because that sucked a lot. It was really stupid. It made me really sad. I don't like that. Alright, so it's been like a week since I welded the handbrake up, and we put it in the car. It works. It's been a while since we've released a video. My family went on vacation. The handbrake took a really long time to get working right, and in between that we also had to fix the power steering and the VVTi gear on the car. We'll show you guys that stuff in the next video, but it's all done, it's all together, and it looks so fantastic. I am beyond stoked with how this thing came out. It's so good. Pumped about it, man.
It could be worse.
It could be worse. Bam.
Show 'em the goods. Ooh.
What's going on right now? Coose is in the car.
What? No way.
And it's not scraping at all yet, which is great.
Going pretty well, man.
Yeah, this car's really smooth. Man, you haven't driven in this car at all, have you?
No, sir.
Let's go on a little rip then.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
That's pretty good. We gotta stay in third.
I was just gonna say, are you gonna do it?
Fourth gear is really not good. I'll show you guys.
Oh.
It works, but not happily.
Oh.
That was the cleanest shift it's ever done into fourth.
And we got it on camera, too.
That was pretty cool. Of course it's on camera.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, fuck, of course, I broke this one too.
Ooh.
That sucks, dude. Fuck, dude, how? God damn it. This fucking car. Alright, so, as you guys saw in that second clip, we actually bent this handbrake. So, I had to take the whole thing out, and I actually, it's pretty crude, but I welded a chunk of metal in here, and then welded this whole seam shut. I also welded the front side of this plate and a little bit under it, just to make sure that the back side of this is all reinforced, because what had happened was this is basically a piece of bent sheet metal, and right here it caved in on itself and let the whole handbrake kind of turn in. So that shouldn't happen anymore. It is super, super, super solid now. You know what they say, third time's a charm, right? So the handbrake has turned out miles better than I ever would have expected. And yeah, it's badass. Very confident in it now. It's not gonna break. Not gonna bend. Everything should be good. We are gonna have to bleed the system again. After that, everything should lock up just fine. I'm stoked. Alright guys, see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a beautiful time.
I'm gravitating. Alright everyone, I'm back from gravitating, and now we're doing brake stuff.